Buckaritas. My name be Captain Overstone, and welcome back. It's good to have you. Don't let the sword pull it. It's great to be back. So today, guys, I wanted to talk about my first time building a deck with Plunder Patrolls, or I guess my first deck, the prototype for Plunder Patrolls. Obviously, I talked about a few different things in another video about how you can support the archetype, and then I completely ignored my own advice because that's just how I roll, like a barrel. But in any case, before anything else, don't forget to like the video, comment down below if you want to talk about it, because I really want to hear your guys' opinions about how we can improve this particular deck. I mean, obviously, it's something that right now I think is like pretty good. It's an option of sorts out of many wide options. I'm not going to suggest that it's the go-to answer for Plunder Patrolls, but I do think it's another, different. It's something different than a lot of other people are coming out with. So, as a young boy who was living in a forest and being attacked by a bunch of giant crawly insects from a metal arm once said, check this out! So I was just sitting around in my room, just hanging out like, as all good pirate captains do, when a thought occurred to me. I was kind of like, wait, Plunder Patrolls, they have certain synergies with a lot of different things, and obviously there's a lot of different archetypes. But then, I looked over into my collection of cards, specifically stuff that I got out of the Ignition Assault Sneak Preview, which you should watch that video too. But then I saw that there was a card in there that had a certain hinting towards maybe having some synergies with this sort of stuff. And I came up with an idea, a brilliant idea, an idea that was totally original and absolutely has nothing to do with anything that anybody else has come up with, and I can guarantee you that much, because I'm probably the only person who would be crazy enough to think of this in the first place. So, here we are now with the first alpha build of the deck that has yet to be tested against any really other major decks, especially any other meta decks, but here's how we've got the new Ancient Warriors Plunder Patrol deck! I guess it's probably going to be easier to say just Senka Patrol. I'm calling it Senka Patrol! So, here we go. Let's check it out. Okay, so let's talk about Senka Patrol, or my Ancient Warriors Plunder Patrol build. Obviously, because we're doing Plunder Patrolls, you gotta start out with your basic core right here. So you've got the Whitebeards, 3 Redbeards, 3 Shipyards, and then 2 Booty. I'm only running 2 Booty because it is a trap card, and you just don't want to start out with too many of this. But 2 Booty seems to be about right in my thoughts. There may be people with a little different opinion on that, but I think right now, given this deck, just because it wants to have a lot of space for the other half of things, and I think 2 Booty is just right. You can search out Booty with Shipyard. Whitebeard will usually be used to summon out Redbeard, and that's pretty much just the general gist of it. That's basics, really, for Plunder Patrolls at this point in time. Let me talk about the Ancient Warrior side of things, because this is the part where this is where a lot of the genius of the deck kind of came into play right here. Was just, one of the things I realized was that you actually could play these guys pretty efficiently using their effects and the like, because they actually have, a lot of them have effects where it's just you just send a card from your hand or field to the graveyard, and that works perfectly with Plunder Patrol. So we're running 3 Sun Mo, 2 Lucian, 3 Guan Yun, and then 1 Zhongde. This is not really a finalized ratio at the moment, but basically this is what I think is good to kind of be flexible going first or second. Sun Mo you want to have, especially when you're going first, because you want to be able to search out one of your other Ancient Warrior monsters. We're pretty much only using the wind ones. The water ones are Lu Jing and Zhongde. Zhongguang? Wait, which one are you? Zhao Gong, Jesus. But yeah, so basically it's the water ones are fine, but they're mostly more so for a control variant off of the deck, which is why I only have one of each, because he destroys spells and traps, he negates monster effects, but he's basically the searcher. He can also bounce back monsters, but another Ancient Warrior monster effect has to activate in order to do that. And basically when you're going first, this is a little bit more ideal. Also of note, they are level 4 water monsters, so something to keep in mind. I'm only running 2 Lushan because it's like, you don't want to have him show up in your opening hand if you're going first, but you do want him to show up in your opening hand if you're going, especially if you're going second, because he basically has an effect where he can bring out an Ancient Warrior monster from the deck. Usually it's going to be Guan Yun, which is also a great going second card. That's why I'm running him at 3. I might bump him down to 2, maybe from favor of another Zhongdae or something like that, just to open things up a little bit more. But Zhongdae I'm only running 1 of because the only way he can be special summoned to the field is if you have 2 or more Ancient Warrior monsters. And Guan Yun can summon himself to the field, but only if your opponent controls a monster. But if they control more monsters than you do, Lushan can get something out of the deck. Guan Yun can basically pop a monster. That's pretty good. Also, Lushan also has the effect that if your other Ancient Warrior monster attacks, or an attack is declared involving an Ancient Warrior monster, you get to draw a card, so that's a nice little bit of recursion right there. And then we're also running 3 visits. 3 visits, haha, triple visits. But basically this is to combo off of like either Sun Mo or Lushan, depending on whether you're going first or second. It basically is just an extra free way of getting out an Ancient Warrior monster from your hand. Pretty easily, and it also is a good searcher itself, so it's like you start with 3 visits, and then if you're going first, you summon Sun Mo, if you're going second, you summon Lushan, and then you get to add, usually you want to add Zhongdae with 3 visits, if you're not going to summon him through Lushan, if you're not going to summon him through Sun Mo, or add him with Sun Mo, and basically, you'll send 3 visits either using Sun Mo or Lushan, and then you'll be able to bring out one of your monsters from your hand, while also either adding another Ancient Warrior monster or special summoning one from the deck. Guan Yun is a good addition to add, and then 3 visits. When 3 visits goes to the graveyard, you also get to special summon an Ancient Warrior monster from your hand. So you can summon out Guan Yun, you can summon out Zhongdae, you can summon out another copy of Lushan if you search that off of Sun Mo, or you search that off of 3 visits. And then, because they're all Beast Warriors, we're also running Tenki, because that can easily get you Sun Mo or Lushan, since they're level 4 or lower. I also have my special collection of super different Tenkis, where I have a common version, a super rare version, and then a gold rare version, because I like it when you have different rarities on a card that has such rarities available. So other cards kind of to throw in for basic other parts of the deck right now are just, you got 3 Ash, generally good hand trap. Probably could be Droll and Lockbird, potentially, or really any hand trap of choice, but right now because I have 3 Ash, I figure I just run 3 Ash. We're also running a little bit of a Danger Engine, where we got Danger Mothman, and the other is Danger Dogman. Dogman is probably a little bit underrated, especially for this deck. Mothman is pretty much just easy consistency. You discard him, and then he lets you basically do Dark World dealings with your opponent. You draw a card, discard a card. Otherwise, if you don't discard him, if you use his effect and manage to discard something else, you can if you discard like a Plunder Patrol monster, for instance, you get a free level 4 body, which then makes it easier to go into materials and the like. Dogman, he's a level 7 Beast Warrior, so he kind of has some synergies with the Ancient Warrior monsters, more so with the level 7 aspect of things, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But he also, if you discard him, you actually get to lower your opponent's monster's attack by 1,000. So in my playtesting, I've kind of like come up with boards where it's like you could just flood the board, and then you can end up with like Dogman as your last card, and you discard it, and then you just attack over a bunch of your opponent's monsters. So other good cards I'm throwing in. I'm also throwing in 2 Enemy Controller, just kind of a good means of getting rid of a Plunder Patrol monster on your field, or getting rid of opening up an extra space, and then also you get to take control of one of your opponent's monsters. This is good either when you're going first, where you can set it, or going second. That's why I'm kind of running this over Mind Control right now, actually, is because it is a quick play spell, and even though it is tributing one of your monsters, you can plus off of that. So that's where I'm running Enemy Control right now. Shoutouts to Plunder Patrol Discord for that one. 1 copy of Avarice, 1 copy of Monster Reborn, and then the last cards are just 2 Called by the Grave. One thing I figure with theorizing in this deck is that this deck loses really hard to monster effect negation, but it also loses pretty hard to Droll and Lockbird. So I basically, I'm considering trying to figure out if I need to take out something like a Guan Yun in favor of a 3rd copy of Called by the Grave, but that's something that would have to be play tested against other decks in order to actually do anything about it. But right now, 2 Called by the Grave, just to kind of keep that consistency, keep that element open, so that way you can counter Droll and Lockbird, because that's a really big card right now. Pot of Avarice, big recursion card, easy, totally easy one of. Monster Reborn, just a nice extender of sorts right there. So pretty much that's kind of the 40 cards of the deck right now. For our extra deck, we are running, for Plunder Patrolls, we got the 2 Bran, we got 3 Blackbeard, we're running 2 Moerk. I feel like this is the standard, but it may be that it's actually just like you drop an extra copy of Blackbeard or something for something else. Right now, this seems to be kind of about right where I figure it. I figure this is the nice standard opening where it's like you want to have like the ability to go into patrol ships using Blackbeard most of the time, because Blackbeard draws you a card whenever he uses his effect. Fun fact, if you actually have a patrol ship in your monster zone and you have Blackbeard on your field, you can actually target these guys because they are effect monsters and then just use them to equip onto a ship. So you can actually have it in a scenario where you've got like a Moerk attached to a Bran or a Bran attached to a Bran or something like that. That's a little fun little fact, and because once they get, you know, a Plunder Patrol on them, then they get their quick effect, so that's important to keep in mind with that. Other cards in the extra deck right now, we've got Baguska, Daigusto Emerald, and Abyss Dweller. These are our rank 4 monsters at the moment that are not Moerk. I found a lot of the time that especially if you're going first, you want to have something that just shuts things down. So Baguska is kind of the go-to on that. Abyss Dweller is more so for graveyard-heavy strategies, and the Daigusto Emerald, I'm actually not going into Daigusto Emerald that much right now, but again, this is all just in like playtesting. I haven't actually gone to like playtest this against other decks and the like, but so I feel like Daigusto Emerald is going to be better in practice than right now in theory. But Baguska is really, I think, is going to be really good. Abyss Dweller is going to be really good, and then Daigusto Emerald is basically like another miniature Pot of Avarice for the deck, so helps with recursion. And then we're also running Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. This is our rank 7 option. There are times I'm finding right now in playtesting where I have like 2 level 7 bodies on board. It's the reason I'm running Dogman right now. Zhongdae is a level 4 or level 7, and then Guan Yun's also a level 7. So having a Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon is just like, you basically just go into this and you have a big monster that can't be destroyed by card effects, inflicts 500 damage to your opponent every single time they use a card or effect, and that just is really good to like, I think it'll be good, especially going into time, if I can make this, that I can just like put this down on the board and then my opponent has to pay a bunch of life points in order to do anything, or they just end their turn or something and they're just like, nah, you go, and then I lose because, you know, time. But I think Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon is also going to be really good. It's nice, hard 2,800 attack points to run over things. I don't know exactly what other rank 7 options I could go into. Number 11, Big Eye seems like an okay option. Yeah, it's pretty much anything that can go into like a 2-material body or something like that. I think that would be the ideal. We're also running Nightmare Cerberus, Nightmare Phoenix, Nightmare Unicorn. This is kind of a standard Nightmare package where you just kind of like, you have monsters that you can discard, get rid of stuff. So you get rid of a special summon monster, you get rid of a spell or trap, and then you get rid of you bounce a card back, essentially. So that's pretty much what I've got in that regard. And then last but not least, Borrelsword Dragon. If you do end up going into Borrelsword Dragon, which you can potentially do with this deck, then, you know, it's just a solid finisher. I think this is probably the best Link 4 to kind of go into right now. I've considered other options like Unchained Abomination, but it's like you don't really want to pop off all your cards all that much. You don't really want to like Borrelode Dragon would be alright as another idea, but Saryuja Skulldred, I don't know about Saryuja Skulldred, mostly because it's like I don't know if I'd have the materials to kind of like bounce through and go through the combo and draw 4 and discard 3, and it's like it's not really like, I don't think this deck is combo-y enough to utilize Saryuja to the max right now. So Borrelsword Dragon just seems like the go-to card to kind of make work in that regard. So just to kind of show off of like some of the ideal combos of this deck right now. So probably the most basic combo is just kind of like, I'm just going to showcase this with Tenki, just to kind of show that the Searcher is pretty much, it's a valuable part of this little bit of combo. But basically you can start with Tenki, but depending on if you're going first or second, you'll either want to get Sun Mo or, there we go, Lu Xuan. So one of those two guys. pretty much. You'll want to start with one of these guys, depending on if you're going first or second. If you have one in hand already, then that's fine too. But let's say we're going first. You play out Sun Mo. You'll use Sun Mo's effects. Discard Whitebeard. Go ahead and an Ancient Warrior monster in your hand. Let's just use that for simplicity's sake. And then Whitebeard, you know, you'll summon out Redbeard. And then you've basically got your board right there. And then you've still got like 3 cards to work with off of that. If you're going second, perhaps, you activate Tenki. Add in instead the Blue Juan. You summon that out. You can discard Whitebeard from there. And then you can bring out, usually I like to go for Guan Yun myself. So bring out Guan Yun, and then you can bring out Redbeard from there. Usually you want to put your Guan Yun away from the zone where your Blackbeard, when you summon that, will be pointing to. And then after Whitebeard, you're pretty much locked into Plunder Patrolls. Okay, now this combo's got 3 cards involved. It's basically the same 2 starter cards, but you also have 3 visits as well. So if you get that out, let's say, of course, we go into our regular thing. Alright, so if we use Tenki, we either find our Sun Mo or our Lu Juan, depending on if we're going first or second. And so let's say we're going first, we'll grab our Sun Mo. You start by playing 3 visits, because when you summon your Sun Mo, your 3 visits will activate and allow you to add something like Lu Juan to your hand. And then you can use Sun Mo's effect, send 3 visits, and that gets us access to something like, you know, Guan Yun, or another, probably the one I like to go into at this point is usually Zhongde, because that gives you an extra body on board. 3 visits will activate, and then you'll be able to special summon one of your guys from your hand, and then you'll be able to summon out Zhongde from there. So, nice little startup there. Still get your Whitebeard going on to kind of pitch around. If you're going second, like let's say we're going second on this case, instead of Sun Mo, if we're going second, we probably don't even, if we end up going second with this kind of hand and end up doing the same combo, then before you summon Zhongde, you probably want to start with using, let's see, actually, yeah, I think you want to bring out Zhongde. If they have more than 3 monsters in this point, then Lu Juan can activate by pitching Whitebeard. If you're going second, and then you can bring out a Guan Yun, and then you can use Whitebeard to bring out Redbeard and go through your plays on that. So if you're going second and you search out the Lu Juan, you can go into 3 visits. You can summon out Lu Juan. You can add Zhongde to hand, like I usually like to do. And you can activate this effect to actually pitch Whitebeard. You can summon out either Sun Mo from the deck, or you can summon out Guan Yun. Those are a couple of options that I like to go into. If you summon out Guan Yun, then probably best thing not to do is to actually pitch the Whitebeard too early. So what you may want to do is, like, say you pitch the 3 visits instead. Summon out Guan Yun from the deck, use 3 visits or Zhongde's effect, summon him out, and then you kind of have that board set up right there. Lets you go into a rank 7 play. If you pitch the Whitebeard, then you get the Plunder Patrol part of this, and then you can keep the Zhongde in hand, actually, if you want to. So, like, let's say you pitch the Whitebeard instead, you'll summon out Redbeard, and then you can go through your plays on that. Hang on to the Zhongde until, you know, you're ready to play it. You'll get to draw a card from Lu Juan. You'll get to use Guan Yun's effect. You'll basically be able to do a lot of stuff with that. You can, if you bring out Sun Mo, you'll be able to utilize his effect, where basically you pitch your Whitebeard, get out a Redbeard, and then when you attack with Sun Mo, Lu Juan's effect will activate, Sun Mo's effect will then chain to that because his effect is activating. So you'll draw a card, you'll bounce a monster, you'll be able to go into a play from there. That's pretty much a nice little combo right there. Okay, so let's say you get a hand like this, where you get a bunch of searchers, but none of your, like, big moneymaker cards right there, so shouldn't be a problem. You just play your Shipyard out into your field zone, you play Tenki, and you go, depending on if you're going first or second, you go for either Sun Mo or Lu Juan. Let's see, if you have 3 visits in hand, you'll play that at this point. You play Sun Mo. You'll use 3 visits to add Lu Juan. You'll pitch it with Sun Mo to add, say, Zhongde. And then you'll use Lu Juan to summon that. You can play with Zhongde at that point. Or you can just use it as fodder for your Shipyard, which will allow you to add in something like Whitebeard or Redbeard or Plunder Patrol Booty. You'll probably want to add Whitebeard at this point, depending on how it all goes. But this is where you want to kind of go with that. If you're going second, you'll want to basically play out
If you can play Zongdae, you can do that. Or you'll use Shipyard, either pitch Zongdae or one of your other cards, add Whitebeard to hand, then use Lujan's effect if they have like if they have more than 2 monsters. You'll pitch the Whitebeard, you'll bring out Guan Yun, you'll use Whitebeard to get out Redbeard, and you'll be able to go through your plays from there. But let's say you open really, really well. Let's say you get a hand like this, where you get a bunch of searchers and you get a Whitebeard in hand. This is probably like one of the best hands you could possibly get. Never mind like the 5th card is. Actually, probably at that point, the 5th card might as well be something like, if you get this, you're pretty much set for the turn, basically. But let's assume, out of the number of cards you could possibly get, let's assume Called by the Grave isn't one of them, but let's also assume your opponent doesn't have any negators either. So you'll use Shipyard, you'll play Tenki, depending on if you're going 1st or 2nd. Again, it'll be either Sunmo or Lujan. You'll play 3 visits, and then you'll either play Sunmo if you go 1st, use 3 visits to add Luxuan, use Sunmo's effect, pitch visits, add Zongdae, summon out Luxuan through 3 visits, and then play out Zongdae. And then you'll use your Shipyard's effect at this point to pitch Whitebeard, search out for booty, and then you'll use Whitebeard's effect in order to play out Redbeard. You'll be locked into Plunder Patrolls at that point, but you should be fine with this board at that point, so it should be really good. If you're going 2nd, you'll search out Luxuan with Tenki, you'll play out 3 visits, you'll summon Luxuan, Luxuan's effect will activate, he can pitch the... well actually, no, 3 visits will activate. 3 visits activates, you'll add Zongdae, you'll use Luxuan, pitch 3 visits, special summon Guan Yun, Guan Yun's effect will activate, you'll play out Zongdae, and then you can use again Shipyard, pitches Whitebeard, searches booty, summon Redbeard, and then you're pretty much set to go from there. So that's another combination of cards that works really well in this particular variant. So that's the deck profile right now. This is pretty much how I've got it laid out at the moment. Plunder Patrol, Ancient Warrior, general cards, extra deck in a nutshell.
So, if you enjoyed that video, feel free to give it a like. If you want to talk about it, leave a comment down below. If you want to see more of my videos, check out my channel, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. I do Overwatch videos on Tuesdays, Hearthstone videos on Thursdays, and Yugioh videos on Fridays. But until next time, guys, keep on plundering, because I know I'm gonna keep on patrolling. Okay, maybe not the best kind of way of going about it, but I'm gonna do something with this deck. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna go to my locals. I'm gonna try it out. Wait, do I have time today? Maybe I do. I should do it right now. Ha ha!